Hello paper crafters, welcome to another craft along instruction video. This time we're doing monkeys, and you can get brown monkeys and black and blue monkeys and white monkeys and blonde and blue monkeys and a whole bunch of different monkeys. You would have been to my website www.boxedspapercrafts to download what you can see in front of you there. There's a monkey I made earlier to show you what he looks like. And he's got a little flip top head where you can store little sweets and lollies and cash and anything else that you want to keep secret and hidden. So yeah, this is what you would have downloaded and printed. Not the tape dispenser, but I highly recommend that you get one of those. It's very useful for crafting. But yeah, that's what you should have downloaded. A body that's I've just pushed to one side there for later, and the head. So let's get started with cutting and folding, and then sticking. But firstly, the cutting. Now there's no right or wrong place to start. Just sort of get stuck straight in with the first your first cuts. Try and keep your scissors nice and straight, sort of straight in front of you, that is, so the point away from you. And then, as you can see, I'm going to move the paper around the scissors. So my opposite hand, the hand that's not got the scissors in, that moves the paper around the scissors, so the scissors just go sort of like up and down as they're in that cutting motion. You don't need to try and move them as little as possible, and that'll make cutting a lot easier. You won't get your hands sort of like twisted around, and you'll get some nice smooth straight lines as well. Going back into cutting some more of the head, going around those tabs for the top. So that'll be the flip top head part of the monkey. If you want to do that, you can always put a bit of tape or stick that together. So he's just a object of beauty rather than a lolly storage container. Make it easy for yourself. You don't have to sort of like twist and turn your scissors within the paper there. You can take them all the way out and then make that cut so much easier. And go round on the other ear here as well. And you can see I've got a nice clear crafting table to work on. Got a pile for the bits that I've cut out. One ear so far, but soon to be two ears. I've got a pile for bits that I haven't cut out yet, and then a bit off screen for any scrap paper rubbish. So you can take your scissors out and then tuck them back in, even if it's just a simple sort of like cut. Just makes things a lot easier. You can see there my left hand, my non-cutting hand. If you were left-handed, it'd be your right hand. Is really sort of in control and driving that paper around the scissors. And you don't have to make sort of like big quick cuts with the scissors easy. But you don't have to make big quick cuts with the scissors either. Take your time. Like I should be doing with this commentary. Take your time to line your scissors up and take it nice and slow around those curves and those corners, and you'll be much happier with the end result of your paper toy. Now I know some of you will be thinking, but I'm no good with scissors. I don't like using scissors. It always comes out rubbish and wrong. Well, I'd say that's probably because you're doing it a bit too quick and because you don't practice a lot. So if you download this paper toy, and let's say you just did 10 minutes a day on crafting and cutting and folding, then by the end of the week, you would have a really cool paper toy, and you would have crafted for 10 minutes a day, because the cutting side takes about 10-20 minutes, the folding side about 10 minutes, and then sticking together about 20 minutes. So yeah, you would have, you don't need to do this all in one go. You can do 10 minutes of it each day, and it'd be finished within a week. And the same goes for if you're sort of like, if you're feeling a bit stuck or you're feeling a bit sort of frustrated, then put your crafts down, pause the video and go off and do something else for a little bit. You can always come back to it later. So here you can see we're nearly finished with cutting the monkey's head. One last snip, and are we done? Nope, we've still got that little white bit strip to trim off on the end there. Now I'm doing the, this is the blonde monkey. As I mentioned at the start of the video, there's loads of different coloured monkeys, and each one of the craft packs comes with a black and white outline as well, so you can colour in and make whatever coloured monkey that you like. It can be pink with green spots, or brown with orange stripes, or whatever you can think of. You can colour in and create your own papercraft monkey. But yeah, this one is the blonde one. They're all the same. It's all the same design and pattern. And we're cutting out the monkey's arms here. Actually, arms and or feet, because there's obviously four monkey limbs. They'll get stuck to your monkey, and they're all exactly the same. There's no real left or right to pick out from there. It's just there we go. There's one of there's the second arm that's been cut out. So that's all the bits that were with the head. We're just going to put those to one side, ready to be folded up later on. And we can start with, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4 parts to the sheet of paper that's got the body on. There's the tail at the top that we're just sort of like trimming along, following those cut lines. So yeah, there's the tail, there's the body, which is the big bit in the middle, and then 2 more monkey limbs to cut out. So there you can see sort of like the tail actually ends up being flat. So there's a coloured front and a coloured back to it, and there's a fold line in the middle there that you would have just seen. There's some quite long cuts on this monkey's tail, but just keep your scissors straight out in front of you, and again just use the opposite hand to sort of feed the paper around the scissors and along the scissors, and you'll get some nice smooth cuts. Actually, just looking at the monkey limbs at the back there, there is sort of a right and a left, because you can see sort of like there's a small blue square for the monkey limbs in there, and that sort of represents the toe or the thumb on the monkey. But look, we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that later. It's not a major problem. Let's just carry on cutting these things out for now, and then we'll work out what's the left arm and the right arm and the left foot and the right foot later on. Cutting down the sort of the tab that's onto the chest of the monkey there, right up into the fold line, and then down that black dot in the middle is the monkey's belly button on his tum-tum. Got some tight little corners to get around there, where you see that Boxheads Papercrafts writing. It's upside down at the moment. You can sort of read it better there. That's the bit. That's the bottom of the monkey's bottom, where he's going to sit. What he's going to sit on, or stand on. Okay, we'll put that to one side. Now we'll carry on with the cutting out the rest of the body. We've got a little tricky bit of white paper to cut out there. If I can stay on screen, there we go, that's better. Around that curve, right next to the monkey's arm. Just take your time with these cuts, there's no rush. It's not a competition to see who can do it the fastest. It's all about sort of getting some nice smooth cuts and eventually smooth folds and some nice, some nice, nice sticking, if that's a thing. Some nice crafting, and you can take as long as you like or as quick as you like if you want. You can always pause this video as well if you're not able to quite keep up. That's not a bad thing. That just means you're being a bit more careful than I am. So, and I've done this lots of times as well. That's why I'm being reasonably quick. And that's the other thing as well. The more that you do it, the more that you craft, the more that you cut, fold and stick, the better that you get at it. Really improving those fine motor skills. So fine motor skills just means that you're good with your hands. You can do some tricky little crafty things with your hands, and you've got good hand-eye coordination. So the more that you practice, and this is a great way to practice that, the better that you get. So there we go, we're cutting round the third arm or leg. So yeah, the arms and legs are the same, but yeah, those little blue squares, you can see it at the top there. That sort of says this is the the left arm or the left leg. I think if you have it sort of like that way, then it's the left arm or left leg. But we'll look at that a little bit more when it actually comes to sticking them onto the monkey itself. For now, we'll just finish cutting and then folding and sticking it together, and then when we stick it onto the monkey itself, that's when we'll sort that out. Okay, almost done. Following those cut lines. We don't need that bit that says what the cut lines are and what the fold lines are. I think you'll know by now, so we don't need to save that. Once we've cut it off, it can go on our scrap paper pile, just off camera over there. And here we go, sort of trimming the last bit of white paper off our monkey. Yeah, his arms and legs sort of fold up into like a triangle, a 3D triangle. What's a 3D triangle called? I don't think it's called a pyramid. It's definitely not a pyramid shape that you get. It's well, you tell me in the comments what a 3D sort of triangle-y thing is. Anyway, for now we're going to start folding, and we're going to start folding the body. And I'll try and get it close to the camera there. You can see those dotted lines. They're a bit tricky to see because I've done them a similar colour to the monkey itself. That's so that when he is all sort of put together, that you don't really you don't notice those fold and cut lines too much. I know a lot of paper toys, they just have black lines, and it sort of takes away from sort of the look of the paper toy, from the character a little bit. It's a little bit distracting. So I've tried to make all the cut and fold lines sort of blend in a little bit with the colours of the paper toy. But just take a good close look everywhere along each part of the paper toy, and craft along with this video, and you'll be able to find all those dotted lines and fold them over. Even don't forget those little ones like that one. And folding is pretty straightforward in a way. You just sort of bend the paper around the dotted line with your thumbs in front, and your index fingers are the fingers next to your thumbs, and just use those to bend the paper around. And then when you feel comfortable and confident you've got it along the dotted line, then just give it a pinch between your index finger and thumbs. And there we go. Is that all of the fold lines? Just checking it out there and just bending that paper around those fold lines, and you can start to see how the body will come together and be ready to stick later on. But let's fold some more of these pieces first. We'll leave that to one side, and let's fold the head. So again, finger and thumbs along those dotted lines that you can see there, mainly for the tabs, sort of the tabs, those sort of like long thin bits, will actually get sort of, you won't see those because they get tucked inside the monkey, and they help to keep the monkey together, so that they're very handy when it comes to sticking the monkey together, as I'll show you later on. And those tabs sort of fill in the gaps between the edges that we do stick together. And I find that sort of, the side of the monkey's head there, if I tuck that away now, if I make that fold now, then that makes it a lot easier to fold the tabs all the way along and down. It's not sort of flapping up and getting in the way of my fingers. So all the way down the side there, that's going to be the bottom of the head, the base of the head. And that bit there, we're folding a tab for the back of the head. All the way around to the other side of the back of the head. Just gently pinching and bending that paper until we're confident we're going to make a good fold. And again, if you're not quite keeping up with me, if you're being a bit more careful with your folds than I am, and you're not quite keeping up, then pause the video and catch up and then carry on. We've been cutting and folding for, it says 17 minutes or so now. So yeah, don't feel like you're in a rush with it. Just take your time. Here we come to the tail, and there's just that one middle fold there, so that the tail gets a coloured front and back to it. And that's basically all we need to do with the tail. Is just pinch it together at the end there. You might find that there's, excuse me, we'll come to that later about the tail now we've put it down and moved on. There is a sort of similar, but they've actually got, where have we gone? There we are. We've got 3 lines on them. Now don't fold all the lines, those outside lines, fold that middle line first, and you'll find that sort of, if you line it up, similar to the tail, you get a front and a back to it. But then I've added in sort of those other two fold lines now line up, and you can fold the ear over like so, and then the monkey has like a little a tab that can attach to the side of the head, like a little sideburn, like extra monkey hair. Same for this one again as well. Do that fold that's straight down the middle first. Fold it together, that gives your ears a front and a back. Like so, you can see straight down the middle, and then where that sort of like blondie ginger bit of blondie, orangey, yellowy, goldy, gingery bit is, that's the tab that'll help us attach it to the side of the monkey's head. Okay, the last few bits to fold are all the arms and legs, all the monkey limbs. So yeah, just nice and gentle with our folds. You'll see some of the tabs like there, they don't quite go all the way along the edge. That's just sort of part of the design and pattern, so that I can squish everything into 2 sheets of, 2 sheets of A4 paper is what I've printed this on. And but set your depending on your printing settings, any American friends that are watching this and printing them out, the monkey will print out on standard US letter paper as well, which I think is just a little bit longer than A4 paper, which we use in the rest of the world. But yeah, it will fit on US letter paper as well. Just adjust your printer settings. And the paper I'm using to craft here is, it's the weight of the paper is called, I think it's 160 GSM, which is double the normal sort of like weight or thickness of standard copier paper. You can use standard copy paper if that's what you've got. You're more than able to craft a good monkey on standard copy paper. But I just like it that little bit thicker, a little bit sturdier. You get some sort of like better folds and creases, and he stands, I don't know, a little bit taller, I suppose. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend him going much over 200 GSM paper, as he starts to become a bit more like a card, and it's a little bit more difficult to cut through and to fold up as well. You start to get sort of quite a lot of crinkles and odd creases if you go over 200 GSM. So that's what I'd recommend, is printing it on 200 GSM paper or lower. What GSM means, tell me in the comments. Comment on the video and tell me what GSM means for paper. Okay, we've got two more monkey limbs to fold here. Three folds right down the middle, and then we've got three folds on each side as well. You can, I've seen some people score the fold lines, so score along those dotted lines, which means you get a ruler and either a craft knife or something that's got a more of a blunt edge, and you make them. You don't cut through the paper; you make a mark, like a dent in the paper. So you line the ruler up with the dotted line, and then you run or rub the craft knife gently, or the blunt object gently along the ruler, and it gives you, like I say, a dent in there, and it makes folding things over sort of like really sharp and smooth and straight. By all means, you can take your time to do that, but to make this video a little bit quicker, I'm just going straight in and folding barehanded. I'll try and do a video on how you can score your paper toys along those dotted lines and show you the sort of like the difference between doing it like this or doing it or by scoring it. But there we go, we've got one more tab to fold over, I think. The monkey arms or legs, whatever which one is, they're both the same design. And everything's folded and in a sort of, well, it's in a pile, not a nice neat pile, but we're ready to stick. And I really recommend getting one of these tape dispensers. It makes it a lot easier to stick your paper toy together rather than having to find the end of the roll of tape, sticky tape every time. So I'm not sure if I show you in this video how sort of like I'm again holding the monkey in place by pinching the tab together with a finger on the inside and one on the outside. You can see the tab just sort of disappearing down, just lining up those edges and corners. And then I'm the tape dispenser, not only does it hold the tape sort of in place while you pick a bit off, it trims it off with that corrugated bit at the end. Where's the arm gone? Come back. There, thank you. It trims it off with that corrugated bit at the end, and like I say, you don't have to spend time and energy on cutting each individual bit of tape off. A little bit more tape there, just for the end there, and there we have our. Has anybody commented on what shape that is? It's sort of a 3D triangular prism, I think is the right term. But yeah, if you know better than me, by all means leave a comment in there, and I'll be more than happy to learn something new for the day. Here's our next one. Tucking those tabs in. A little bit of tape on the outside there. Lining it up. So tape just on the edge. See on the inside there how I've still got hold of it. Lining it up and then bending the tape round and sticking the other side together. try not to use too much tape either, because although tape's see-through and clear, you still get sort of like some dull bits and shiny bits, and you can see some bits that have got like lines on them. That you can see sort of like there's a I very quickly showed you the little difference with those little blue squares. But yeah, try not to use too much tape, otherwise yeah, you get a it just looks not. I think it just looks nicer and cleaner if you don't use too much tape. And you might not want to use tape. You could use a glue stick. That'll work just as well. Although you need to hold it together to until sort of like one tab is stuck to the other side of the paper. My favourite thing is actually a hot glue gun to stick it together. But obviously, not everybody's got a hot glue gun. You might not be able to buy one, or you might be too young to use one, because they are a little bit dangerous if you're not careful with them. They get a little bit hot, and you can burn your fingers a little bit. So sticky tape is sort of like the cheap and most available alternative, I think, which is why I'm using it here. Okay, we've got one more monkey limb to stick together. And like I said earlier, if you're getting a bit fed up and frustrated with just doing the same thing over and over again, rather than sort of rushing through it, just press pause, leave it to one side, and you can come back to it later on that day, or even the next day. Like I say, if you spend 10 minutes each day sort of cutting and crafting your monkey, it'll be done by the end of the week, sorry. Because all together, sort of cutting, folding and sticking it together, it'd take about an hour. It takes about 1 hour to craft a monkey paper toy. Okay, last little bit of tape there, just lining up that last little bit up, bend it over onto its hand there, and that's all the monkey limbs done. Now for the monkey ears, you can see sort of all we're going to need really to stick the monkey ear together is one little bit of tape on the end here, but we're still being nice and careful with it, making sure that it's lined up. And you might find there's some little sort of like white edges that you want to trim down, which you're more than welcome to. I'm just gonna be happy with that and move on to the other ear. Bit of tape on the end there, and fold it round to the back. Press it down, and there's our other ear done, ready to stick to the side of the head once the head is stuck together. First we're going to do a very similar thing with the tail as well. See how the tail sort of like ends up being flat. So we just need a little bit of tape on the tip of the tail, right there. And then you can see it does open up a little bit there, so we'll have a bit of tape on either side there as well. Not too much, just a little bit to hold it together, hold it in place. Round onto the other side as well. Stick it on one side and then bend it round back to the other. And now we've got a nice wibbly wobbly monkey tail. Okay, let's take care of the monkey head next. I'm going to start down the bottom, because I'm going to do it where we leave the top open, so you can have a little monkey storage box. Okay, so line the edge up to the dotted line there, have it so it's as straight as can be, and you can see there how I'm using that tab on the inside to hold it together while I line things up and then stick the tape down. Fold it and bend it around like so, and we'll do the same on the opposite side. This is sort of like the base, the bottom of the monkey's head that will attach to the body later on. So stick half the tape to one side. We can always pull it out and adjust it so we get it nice and straight. So we get the edges and corners matched up, and then we can press it down when we feel we've got it in the right place. Okay, just a couple more bits to stick around the back of the monkey's head there. So again, sort of pinch it between your finger and thumb, the finger on the inside of the box. We'll just press nice and gently to line those edges up with that dotted line there. Take your time to line things up and then very gently and carefully press down the sticky tape. And this is going to be my final, I think it's going to be my final sticky bit for the monkey. Just push it in, line it up, press it down, and then there you can see sort of like that last flap, the top of the monkey's head. Tuck those tabs in and just adjust some of those folds, and then it fits in nicely. Just gently, you don't want to push it all the way in, but just gently to make our little box for any monkeys or any lollies or sweets or anything else you want to keep sort of stashed away. Okay, monkey ears. There we can see we've got that sort of like that tab that I've tucked around the back for the time being, and then I've got a little bit of tape sticking half to the ear, and then the other half I'm going to line up on the side of the monkey's head there. There's no sort of, as long as it goes on the side of the monkey's head, you can have it the ear lower if you want, sort of further to the back, further to the front. But I think sort of like nicely in the middle there it's the right place for the monkey's ear. And then we want a little bit of tape around the back as well. So we've got to bend the ear round a little bit to get to the back there. But then we can, once that's stuck down, then we can adjust the monkey's ear and have it stuck out as far as we want, or you can bend it round so it sort of like tucks into the head a little bit more. It's up to you. But we'll do the same with the other ear as well. Half the sticky tape on the ear, and then just like that one, we're going to line it up in almost the same place, trying to get it exact, but it might be a little bit off. But yeah, the other side of the sticky tape sticks to the side of the head. And then another bit of tape just around the back. We've just got to bend, make that bend go the opposite way, so we can stick that other ear, the bit behind the ear, so it doesn't sort of flap about too much and eventually fall off. And now we've got some nice monkey ears, a nice little lid, and our monkey head is complete and ready to stick to the body in a moment. But that'll come after we've stuck together the monkey's body and put his arms and legs on. Okay, I'm starting off near the chest there. Yep, that's better back on camera. Starting off with the chest there. So I'm lining it up first, and then with our handy dandy tape dispenser, I'm able to pull off a little bit of tape about the length that we need just underneath. If you start pulling off longer bits of tape than you'll need, it starts to sort of like hang off the edge of your paper toy, and then you've got to trim it down and stuff. If you keep the length of your tape to just underneath what you need, then there's a little bit. It makes it a little bit less messy. Okay, you can see I've got I don't know what I'm showing you there, but anyway, I'll carry on sticking again, and doing the opposite side. So sticking the side of the monkey body to sort of the top of his chest there. Again, that little bit of tape on there, making sure we've got it lined up nicely. Then bending the tape round and just gently but firmly sticking it down together. Side of the monkey too, you can see the monkey's belly button there. So we're doing the monkey's tum-tum. Sticking that down, folding it around. We've got a couple of little tricky bits that we'll need little tricky bits of sticky tape for. Just where sort of the Box Eds Paper Crafts writing is. Just some nice little bits of tape there, and then we can move on to do our final sort of the back of the monkey. And I always like to do sort of like the top bit first, so we can line it up. And you've got to be sort of nice and gentle here. You don't want to use too much force and push that flap right into the monkey. Just nice and gentle, line it up, and a bit of tape over there to the sort of the top of the monkey's body. That blue bit on the top there, that's where the monkey's head will will sit. Eventually, once we've finished off, sort of just closing up those sides there. And the monkey, just one final bit of tape there, and there's our monkey body. You can see how the head is going to end up sitting on the top there. You can either stick it down, or you can not stick it down, and then the monkey's head will swivel around like that. Okay, monkey arms and monkey legs. Okay, you can see that I've got taken two there, and there's two more there, so all four of them, and you can see that there's those little blue squares there. I wish I pointed it out a little bit more obvious to you, but sort of try and get them on opposites, so you've not got them on the same side. You've not got you don't have two thumbs on the same side, if you know what I mean. Your thumbs sort of, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Follow the video, follow the pictures rather than listening to me too much. Okay, you can see that there's a big blue square there, and then my fingers covering up the thumb, the smaller blue square there. Okay, follow the picture of that, follow what I'm doing, rather than I'm doing a terrible job of explaining what I mean by monkey thumbs or monkey toe thumbs, whatever they're called. If you know what they're called, drop something in the comments. But if you were following rather than listening, then you'll see I've already stuck down one monkey foot, and the way that I did it was just lining it up down the bottom there. You can see sort of where the writing was and where the monkey's belly button is. There's the monkey writing, and you can see sort of those foot thumbs, monkey foot thumbs come together there, and you get a nice little hinge with the tape, and then the monkey can run away and doesn't need to keep listening to me waffling on with this instruction video. But next is the monkey arms that will go on the sides there. Very similar to the feet. Just took a little bit of tape at the top there. So I've got half of it on the arm, and that other sticky bit, that's actually going to, once we line it up, it's going to stick to that bit where we put the monkey's head, that blue square that's on the top there. But we'll flip it over for now, because we want another bit of tape to make that join a little bit more secure. So we need a bit of tape in the monkey's armpit, and then the arm can flop and flap about as well. So we've done that arm. Onto our final arm. Again, a little bit of tape at the top there. And what we can do is we can flap that arm over, and that can help us to line it up on the other, so that both arms are sort of lined up together. A bit more tape in the monkey's armpit there, give it a bit of a tickle. A little bit of tape in there, and again that'll let our monkey flap his arm around freely without it falling off. And if it did fall off, just get a bit more tape. Okay, there we go for all his arms and legs. Hopefully that wasn't as confusing as I made it sound. And then the tail. So again, similar to the ears, I suppose we need a little bit of tape on the end there, and then we're going to stick it down on his bottom, down on the monkey bottom. And line it up nicely in the middle there. And similar to the ears and arms, we want a little bit of tape on the opposite side, so that that join is nice and secure. A little bit around there, and then our monkey can flap his tail around as well as his arms and legs. Okay, so to join up the head and the body, you can leave it separate if you want. But I'm using a slightly longer bit of tape, and then I'm going to loop it round so that the sticky part of the tape is on the outside. So it's tricky to sort of like put into words, but sort of try and, you might want to sort of like, so tape loop that can stick on one side there, but then we've got sticky stuff on the top as well that will attach to the head. You might want to pause and replay that little bit of crafting that I did there a couple of times. But then by doing that, or using double-sided tape, but by using that kind of tape, the monkey's head sort of bobbles around a little bit. But yeah, thank you for watching. Happy crafting, and there's our monkey all put together. Yeah, like I say, you can go to my website, which is, the link's coming up. Well, there'll be a link in the description, but it's also coming up on screen in a moment. It is www.boxheadspapercrafts.com. You can download, print and craft your own monkeys. The blonde and blue one we've just done there. There's some lollies in the monkey's head. Happy crafting, people, and I'll see you next time.